The action will soon resume at the National Biathlon Centre at Zhangjiakou. Strange day, the visibility is quite poor, the lights are on, but we've got good competition here. And it's the women's individual standing event over 12.5 kilometres that will get underway shortly with a field of 14, 5 from Ukraine and 4 from China. So 9 of the 14 from those two nations. We're likely to get medalists out of there, but also a couple of very strong Canadians, 2 from Japan and 1 from Poland. A small crowd of selected spectators. We've still got 4 races to come. The men's standing to follow this one, and then the 2 vision impaired categories. So the snow is okay. The wind is negligible. The shooting so far has been very good, and we'd expect more close racing to come.
Yeah, we certainly do. The Ukrainians, highly fancied in this, swept the medals in the middle distance biathlon event, and Kononova, Batinkova, Bauman, Bui and Lyashenko will be the last 4 athletes to go. Irina Bui, who is the world champion from Lillehammer just 8 weeks ago, also the gold medalist in the middle distance event. Batinkova, Bauman at 38 goes also for Ukraine, and Lyashenko, not a gold medal yet. Perhaps somewhat surprising that silver and a bronze so far. 2 degrees above, certainly not as warm as we've seen here, enjoyed over the last few days at Zhangjiakou, but the athletes will be well used to these conditions. A light breeze as we're good to go for race 3 of the final day in Parabiathlon at the 2022 Paralympic Winter Games, the women's individual in the standing category. So 4 from China, Li, Wang, Zhao and Guo, who won the sprint event. And we see our Ukrainians there looking for another sweep of the podium as they did in the middle distance event.
Don't discount Brittany Hudak of Canada, who was a bronze medalist 4 years ago. And what an age range we find ourselves with today, with Guo Yuji at 17 and Dekajima Momoko of Japan at 47. And it's a question, I suppose, for a young skier like Guo, whether she has the endurance to stick with the more experienced skiers over the 12.5 Ks. Certainly she can do the sprint, no problem at all. She's shown that in fine fashion. The breeze maybe has just picked up a little, but in the opening races we've seen some astonishingly accurate shooting. Lyashenko, bronze and a silver medal here already in biathlon, in the middle distance and the sprint respectively. But China didn't send biathletes to Paralympic Winter Games until 2018, 4 years ago, and already have 4 gold medals here. So the turnaround, the development, the improvement is remarkable.
It certainly is. And we're seeing some of those medalists here in this race, of course, with the Guo Yuji and Zhao Zhixing, who was bronze medalist in the sprint. That's Emily Young, the 31-year-old Canadian. 2 Canadians going here, along with Brittany Hudak. Emily Young, 7th, 8th and 5th so far in her 3 race participations on the Zhangjiakou Hill.
Don't miss the opportunity for a stretch when you're just checking the boots. And I think that's a little timing bracelet around the ankle as well. We keep track of the athletes around the course through the various checkpoints and allowing us to get a truer picture of where everybody sits. We're just coming up to 20 minutes after midday local time. So that means we're 25 seconds away from a start, and it will be Li Huiling of China to get us away. It'll be followed 20 minutes later by the men's equivalent event. So they'll be overlapping, but it'll be all good.
Women's standing race gets underway then with Li Huiling, 26 years of age, from Zhaozhuang. Pair of 9th place finishers in the Parabiathlon event so far, 10th in the women's cross-country sprint, looking to bring more joy for the host nation LW8 classification.
Abe Yorika of Japan from Fuchu. A third Paralympic Winter Games for her, with cross-country top 10 results in Sochi and Pyeongchang, and biathlon. Let's see what she can do today. She's had a 16th in the sprint so far.
Go at 17, Wang Uro at 18, the youngest members of the Chinese team here going in this race, 12th, 13th and 12th thus far. Those pair of 12 places in the biathlon events, the sprint and middle distance. And listen to the noise just helping her propel away from the start gate at the beginning of this longer distance race, 12.5 kilometers here on the circuit in the Zhangjiakou Mountains.
Takajima Momoko at 47 years young, vast experience. She can track her Paralympic involvement back to Turin and Vancouver, Sochi, Pyeongchang. Yet to snare a medal in cross-country or biathlon, but on a right day, maybe she can. World Championship silver medalist 2017.
Perhaps the athlete with the best knowledge of these conditions and these mountains. It's Zhao Zhixing, the 24-year-old from the city of Zhangjiakou. Bronze medal in the sprint and just off the podium in the other two events in which he's competed here in cross-country, the sprint and long distance. What can she do here?
Guo Yuji likes to stand diagonally to the course before setting off, and away she goes at 17, also from Zhangjiakou. Well familiar with these slopes, and the course here with more ups and downs to it than for the sitting classifications earlier. Some steeper climbs. Can she go the distance?
Bogdana Konashuk goes next. First of our 5 Ukrainians in this race, unable to join the medal party for the nation of Ukraine yet. The 23 finishes of 10th and 7th in the para-biathlon events so far here. It's her second game. She was there in Pyeongchang.
Now the 22-year-old from Poland, Iveta Faron. It was a late withdrawal from the middle distance event, but was 5th in the sprint. And if she can shoot well, she could again be a top 5 contender. That'll be the question for her.
Two Canadians to go next, first of which is Emily Young. She's on the medal podium 4 years ago up in Alpenzia, that in cross-country. Silver in the mixed 4x2.5 relay. Bronze in the women's a 7.5. Also a 4th in the sprint, 5th in this long distance event. The 31-year-old from Kelowna in British Columbia.
Fellow Canadian Brittany Hudak, one of 7 in today's event who were in the equivalent event 4 years ago in Pyeongchang, and she finished 3rd. She's originally from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, but training with some of her Canadian colleagues from out of Canmore, Alberta. Genuine contender as we go out on course now. And Li Huiling. Challenge is to just pace yourself. Kononova now.
8-time world champion Alexandra Kononova, including in the sprint distance recently in Lillehammer. She's 31 now, and she has a silver medal in the middle distance earlier this week. So part of the Ukrainian success story.
Yulia Batankova-Bauman will hope that experience counts for something at 38 years of age, from Kiev, and a 4th in the sprint, 5th in the middle distance, hoping for more success for Ukraine, who topped the medal standings in the biathlon events at Zhangjiakou. Abe just a little down on the time of Lee through the first checkpoint at a kilometre. Wang almost identical with her teammate.
Yep, just back at the start gate, the last athletes out and running, Irina Bui. Now then, she's the world champion over this distance. Those Lillehammer world champs happened just 8 or 9 weeks ago. Lyashenko, hotly fancied, goes next.
Yes, should be too, because she was a silver medalist in the sprint and a bronze in the middle distance. And she goes out as the last competitor in this field of 14 in the women's individual event.
Yep, you're watching the standing races. Women's the first, men to come a little later. We expect a bit of an overlap, actually. The women's race won't have finished before the men's get underway. And then rounding off the programme a little later on the last day of Parabiathlon here at Beijing 2022 will be the men's and women's vision impaired races. So Li, Xiao, Guo and Wang for China in the race. 2 for Japan, Dekajima and Abe. Poland represented by Faron Young and Hudak for Canada, and 5 Ukrainians: Konashuk, Kononova, Batankova-Bauman, Bui and Lyashenko.
This is Konashuk coming through 16 seconds down on the time through the 1K checkpoint. So some work to do, but things can change very quickly once they come into the range, and they'll be shooting 4 times today, 5 laps, and it's nominally a 12.5 kilometre event, but it's actually a bit longer than that, more like 12.9, with each of the laps being 2,584 metres. Longer again if you miss some targets, of course. For the standing events, the penalty loops are 150 metres. Best avoided.
Zhao Zhixing coming up the hill, and then bib 54, that's Dekajima. 2 Japanese in the race. Dekajima at 47 is the elder of those 2, finishes of 14th and 10th earlier in this Paralympic Winter Games week in the mountains at Zhangjiakou. 56 is at Guo Yuji. It's been a fantastic week for her. She helped carry the flag into the opening ceremony in the Bird's Nest, and then promptly followed it up with a gold medal in the sprint event. But has she got the greater endurance here, and indeed the poise required to deliver the marksmanship?
Hudak coming through. She's going to be outside that time of Zhao by some 15 seconds. If you watch carefully, you see a range of techniques, really. And I was thinking earlier, watching Guo Yuji, how she carefully watches the placement of each ski. Every moment counts with the technique as a close consideration. For finely honed by athletes reaching this level. Kononova at over 4 minutes. That's a quick time that's been posted there by Zhao coming through. It stood up well.
Kononova, she's been going since the 2010 Paralympic Winter Games in Vancouver. 4 medals picked up there. Only 31. When you see the longevity of some of these athletes, they go on and on and on. So a German into his 50s competing in the cross-country. But first visit to the shooting range is underway for Lee.
cast our minds back to the very first time we saw her shooting. She was a very nervous, edgy competitor at the range. Had a lot of trouble settling over the rifle, but not now. It's like she's matured before our eyes in the last few days, and that's a very good start for Li Huiling back out onto the course.
Yep, and importantly, back into the race. No penalty loops required here, so if you shoot clean, you've always got a chance. That's Liashenko coming through. She's had a fabulous season on the World Cup circuit, and a silver and a bronze already here, but hotly tipped to get amongst the gold medals. Lyudmila Liashenko, the 28-year-old from Kharkiv. It's her third visit to the Paralympic Winter Games, as we see two more athletes come into the shooting range. It's Wang of China and Abe.
Oh, miss there for Wang.
Yeah. So not what she would have wanted here. Missed 5 actually in the middle distance event, having shot clear in the sprints, and 2 misses for Abe as well. So extra meters, extra energy needed to ski in the penalty laps. Still looking good for Li, who shot clear and is our race leader. And clean visits to the range for Zhao and Guo. So that's Guo back in the race. All targets hit. Well played.
Dekajima now. A miss for her. They do get some practice time in the range to familiarise themselves with the conditions and the wind, which is certainly a factor, judging by those little red flags between positions. Konashuk, who 4 years ago was 5th, only missed the 1 target in that final in Pyeongchang.
And a miss straight off the bat here for Konashuk. So off and away and into the penalty circuit. So Young coming through now. We're going to be seeing Brittany Hudak in pretty short order as well for the Canadians.
Emily Young, 7th in Pyeongchang with 2 misses.
Good clean first visit there. Up and away. Hudak shooting. So too fat on there of Poland.
Just get the feeling Hudak might well have targeted this event as the one where she could do the best. She's already had a great result back in Korea. Draw on that experience, that confidence. Shot clean in that event. Kononova. It's not a rifle that could easily be lost with the colours and decorations she's got going there, and Kononova knows how to use it too.
Yeah, missed 2 targets in the middle distance event. It was still an upgrade on that display in the sprint when she missed at 4 all told. Liashenko now. Two targets missed in each of the events so far. In no mood to mess around here, though. Lyashenko, superb there. The world champs bronze medalist Lyashenko behind Bui, who won the gold. That's a really strong, clean, fast start for her.
So Bui and Batankova-Baumann to shoot. Ferron, meanwhile, has missed 3 for Poland.
Well, Bui was 20 from 20 in winning her middle distance gold medal, and that's an excellent start for Irina Bui again here. All targets hit, up and away, back into the race. And she'll be breathing down the neck of Lee up at the front of the field. Lyashenko has shot clean as well. Zhao, Guo, Hudak, Kononova, Young, Batankova-Baumann, some really strong shooting.
Has to be said, it's an astonishing start made by Lyashenko, who started 30 seconds behind Bui and is now ahead of her out on the course. So she is really firing. So Lyashenko announces herself as the one to catch in the early moments of this women's individual standing event over 12.5 Ks.
Just if she can remain sharp in the range.
That's the question, always. Some seconds can certainly be made up around the course, but the real time is won and lost in the range. Abe well down on the field, and she missed a couple at that first stop. Wang won. 9 competitors went through without a miss at the first stop.
Zhao at 13-18 is our race leader at present. And wait for all of our athletes to come through that equivalent checkpoint, and we get a clearer idea of who's where and who needs to catch whom. Of course, the clock running differently, faster or slower for each athlete depending on their individual sporting classification. So although they're all standing athletes, there are sort of individual adjustments depending on the individual level of impairment. Plenty of racers at 95 and 96%, so not much disparity there. We've got Zhao down at 90%, 56 there, 55 coming up. That's Guo and Zhao for China in perfect synchronicity. On the heels is another Chinese athlete in Wang.
So they're used to filling positions on the podium, used to skiing in training, certainly one behind the other, and making it look like something of a dance as we go back to the start. Will be the men to follow. And this field, a relatively small one for the men, and just the 10.
Yep.
China, Japan, Kazakhstan, Norway, France, Ukraine. Let's see if Benjamin Davier can do something at the tail of the field there. Volshinsky has had a very good games. Gerlitz a contender for sure, and Mark Arentz, and China with 4 in it have to be factored in as well.
Yeah, 7 nations coming out of the start gate here then at the start of the men's race. Davier will be last to go. Managed to get his gold in the cross-country sprint, did Davier. Sato there in the middle of your picture, oldest athlete in the field at 42, Sato Keiichi. Bib 71 is Yuan Mingshu. Finishes of 5th and 8th so far in the sprint and middle distance events respectively. So this is the 4th race to start on the last day of Parabiathlon at the 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. It's the men's individual for standing athletes. First of 4 Chinese racers to leave the block.
And three of them go at the top of the field, one after the other. Here is Li Taiyuan, who is 26 now, out of Linchang. Had a 9th in the sprint, 11th in the middle distance event. He gets the Jai-O cheer from the stands at Zhangjiakou.
As we return to the women's race, Li with her second visit to the shooting range. And it's starting to go a little bit awry here for Li Huiling. Oof, 3 misses. Dearie me, she'll be dropping down the order here. So 450 extra meters to ski in the penalty circuit. At least she's made up. She hit her first and last shots, but those 3 misses have really hurt Li in this women's individual race.
Second visit of Lyashenko will be crucial when it happens, as she's absolutely flown around the first fifth of the course and shot clear. So the Ukrainian making a statement early. Zhao now, who went out 5th. Just had a bit of trouble settling over that third shot. Does seem that the wind has picked up. Those red flags are very busy in the range, and that's a factor for the athletes to try and work around and work with.
Yeah. Li missing 3, Zhao missing 1, and Guo Yuzhi also missing on her second visit to the range. Konashuk, Dekajima and Abe just lining up with a rifle. Wang, by the way, has shot clear on her second visit, so just the 1 miss so far from her in that first visit to the range.
Konashuk, a miss at the first stop, and now 1 at the second.
Too many misses, surely, to be properly competitive here for Konashuk. That's 3 all told.
Yes, one by one they can play themselves out of the medal contention. You consider that it's 150 metres, can take them around 30 seconds to do. And it's the extra energy spent as well as we go back to Vovchinsky completing the men leaving the gate for their race in the 12.5K. Vovchinsky has had a very good games. He's a gold medalist in the sprint, silver in the middle distance. On the biathlon side of things, and then Benjamin Davier of France. What can he do today?
Yeah, Davier disappointing in the first 2 biathlon events, just out of the medals in the sprint. He finished 6th in the middle distance. He got his gold, though, in the cross-country sprint. Really exciting day of racing 24 hours ago as Lyashenko gets into that prone position, shooting for the 2nd time round. Oh, and she's missed.
Yeah, a little grimace there.
That's a shame for Lyashenko.
Yeah, she wasn't happy. You could tell she felt that miss. She's good enough, though, to make up for it.
You mentioned the wind has picked up. It also played havoc with the shoots of Hudak and Young. So 1 miss apiece for those 2 Canadian biathletes here. Kononova has missed 3 times in her second visit to the range. Lee and Abe 2.
everyone who's come through to the range twice has missed at least once. So it's different proposition to the earlier women's sitting event where there was a lot of clean shooting. But even Lyashenko, even the best, are struggling a bit later in the day as conditions change a little.
So there's a real window of opportunity here for Bui and Batinkova-Baumann. And Farron to visit the range as well, but she's missed 3 in her first visit. So Bui, the middle distance gold medalist, will shoot again. Everyone's missing in the circumstances, just the one miss there. Well, she'll take it. Still very much in the game here, Bui. And Batinkova-Baumann will shoot again here.
And she got them all. Well done. Just saw there with Bui, just a small point that a lot of the athletes like to take the trigger finger out of the glove to get that extra feel on the trigger. Not a lot of pressure required, but then the finger goes back inside the glove as they go out around the course. And on colder days than today, that's really important, but it's still fairly mild, even if it's cooler than the last 2 or 3 days. But Batinkova-Baumann, some kind of chance now.
Yeah, well, with the greatest of respect, Batinkova-Baumann at 38 perhaps doesn't have the energy of those younger than her. She's still not the eldest in this race. That accolade goes to Dekajima, the Japanese, at 47. But we're racing here with someone at the other end of the scale, if you will, the 17-year-old Guo, with just that one miss so far. Zhao Zhixing going well for the Chinese as well. It's Konashuk there, and then behind her.
In 80 there is Davier on the men's side of things. So there's a little bit more traffic on the course. The athletes need to be mindful of each other and make sure there are no collisions or falls. It's happened once or twice. Generally, though, it's been clear and clean progress for everyone as these overlapping races are completed.
So Zhao at 23.59, followed by Guo and Wang. Yeah, Davier still in the middle of your picture there. 57, Konashuk. It's a good way down, hurt by her 3 misses.
Pretty much at the halfway point of the women's race. They've had 2 stops out of the 4 and halfway around the 3rd lap of 5. Hudak coming through the 6K point at 21.8 seconds behind Zhao. Looking for her to have a presence in this race, but unlike 4 years ago, she's had 1 miss. So the only athlete to shoot clear has been Batinkova-Baumann through 2 stops. Can she convert that into something on the podium?
Yeah, Lyashenko digging in there. Been racing since Sochi in 2014 when the Paralympic Winter Games story started with a 5th in the women's 5K in cross country. And then there was an upgrade to a pair of bronzes in the biathlon in Pyeongchang in the sprint and middle distance. And Wang for the Chinese at just 18. They've got great potential, haven't they? Mentioned it a little earlier. Made their Nordic Sports debut at Pyeongchang 4 years ago, but 4 years on, they've really got the conditioning down to a T that has delivered this significant medal haul here. And we may be seeing more medals for China in this women's individual race for standing athletes. But The Ukrainians still fighting away, and of course the Canadians very much in that mixer as well. It's Hudak coming through the field, the 28-year-old, the bronze medalist in the long-distance cross-country race.
So through they come as the snow softens, but the competition heats up. Liashenko, now Zhao's time standing up nicely. The Zhao Jiqing, bronze medalist in the sprint, but this distance twice as far, 12.5 Ks, and that's the separation point for some of these athletes. They have the endurance or they have the sprinting ability, and few have both. And there are exceptions like Oksana Masters, who seems to be able to do everything. But boy, a couple of minutes down on Liashenko, her teammate. Liashenko has gone out very hard. I wonder if it's been too hard.
Top shooter so far, Yulia Batinkova-Baumann. Brilliant longevity and experience. Her first Paralympic Winter Games was 2006 Torino, and on the podium there, 3 bronzes, a silver medal as well. She's steadily worked her way up the podium. Vancouver silver medals, Sochi silver medals, and then 4x2.5 relay in the cross-country gold in Pyeongchang.
Liashenko coming up now behind Abe Yurika of Japan, who went out second. Liashenko last of the 14. And we've got news now, Iveta Faron of Poland has withdrawn after 3 misses at the first stop. Another 450 metres to ski, and maybe that was too much discouragement for her. But Guo into the range for the 3rd time. One miss.
Yeah, 4 out of 5, same as her second visit. Well, perhaps the energy will be there because of those 17 years. She'll be full of beans, of course, but would have wanted not to have to ski further than absolutely necessary. Zhao. 1 miss so far.
Good job from Zhao. Able to comfortably hold her breath for quite a while, finding the target and then pulling the trigger. And athletes say that at this altitude, the oxygen debt creeps up on you quite quickly. Some of the longer events are saying that their head's spinning really, as they're not used to this height above sea level, but well managed there. Hudak needs the lot.
Nicely done inside the time of Zhao then, leaving the 3rd visit to the shooting range. Liashenko, yeah, just the 1 miss so far. Nice and clean there, very much in the hunt.
Feels like she's 3/4 of the way to the finish she's craving. Liashenko, that's the 1 miss. And at 28, well, she's going to be well under the time of Zhao as she comes past the checkpoint there. 1:34 in front. Unbelievable, Liashenko. If she can maintain this pace, this poise, then the race is hers, surely. And dominantly so. It's really the difference between Liashenko and the rest of the field. Amazing. Dekajima in 54, leaving the shooting area, and 59 there, Emily Young. As we go back to Abe, of Japan. Has had a bad first couple of visits. Makes up for it with a third somewhat, but 5 targets missed. It's a lot of extra skiing. Should be wondering how she missed 5 when she shot 5 out of 5 with the third visit, but that's the unpredictability of it all. And it's Lyashenko with the race in her hands, and the others have to do something extraordinary, or she would have to fail multiple times at the last shoot to give the race to somebody else. Bui will come in now, having had just the 1 miss at the second stop. In this classification of arm impairments, they're allowed to use that rest to support the rifle. Baumann now. Can she maintain this perfect record? Top job.
Brilliant shooting again from Batinkova Baumann. She won't have the speed, I'm afraid, in this ski, but quite unerring in the shooting range for the veteran athlete at 38. Still, it's Lyashenko who is absolutely destroying the rest of the field in this women's individual race. Run over 12.5 kilometers.
Back out on the course with Zhao Zhijing. Is Batinkova Baumann one of the athletes who was in the field 4 years ago? She finished 11th behind Lyashenko, who that day was 10th. So this would be a huge turnaround in fortunes if Lyashenko can get it done 4 years later. The air quality has diminished somewhat in the last 48 hours. Around eastern China, the weather conditions have changed quite a bit. Zhao, well, that's a little misleading until we get Lyashenko coming through. Doesn't mean too much. Hudak, bronze medalist in Pyeongchang. Keeps a nice, easy rhythm. Never looks like it's too much effort. He's got a nice technique. And you see the lead of Lyashenko over Zhao. Just romping through the field, about to overtake Brittany Hudak.
Konashik way down. Lyashenko remains leading Ukrainian here, and it's looking very, very good for Lyudmila Lyashenko.
Yes, Ukraine now in the biathlon competition with 5 gold medals to China's 4, United States 3. But in terms of total medals coming into this race, 17 for Ukraine and People's Republic of China, 10. Significant difference there in the totals. And Lyashenko wants to add here.
5 golds for Ukraine in there as well, to China's 4. And Canada on the board with 4 medals also. So, Hudak.
Lyashenko closing in on the Canadian. No sign of a breakdown in her style or technique. Looks to have plenty of stamina left.
Yeah, minute 30 here is the cushion. So it'll take a disastrous last visit to the range, really, to deny Lyashenko, who would thus complete the set here. A silver in the sprint, bronze in the middle distance, the lowest on the podium from Ukraine in that Ukrainian sweep in the middle distance race earlier in this Para-Nordic Sports Week in Beijing. And back with Zhao Zhixing, the 24-year-old. It's going well for China. Provisional second at present. The bronze medalist in the sprint event, the one who is from Zhangjiakou, just down the road. So was trained here.
Here comes Brittany Hudak, lining up for another medal finish. This seems to be the event that suits her best. Lyashenko not taking too many meters out of Hudak at this stage of the race. It's getting down towards the business end, though. One more stop to come. Really important 5 shots for the contenders. The sort of hazy, misty day that it is in Zhangjiakou and down in the Chinese capital of Beijing as well.
We wouldn't have believed it, looking at the conditions from 24 hours ago. Blazing sunny skies up here in the mountains. It's a far more wintry atmosphere here on the last day of the biathlon events at Beijing 2022. Guo with 2 misses so far. Goes out with a bang. 5 from 5 on her last visit to the shooting range. So has to really put a shift in to get up anything close approaching to Lyashenko.
Well, Guo could be anything in 4 years' time, couldn't she? Already a gold medalist. Seems to have the composure. Looks unfazed in the heat of competition. We're all solid competitors. It's the busy scene around the shooting range as the team officials bring forward the rifle for their particular athlete to their particular lane.
Lee exiting the range, having shot clear.
Flags in the range not quite so active at the moment. Will this make it easier for Zhao? It's a completely counterintuitive thing to have to do. Your body's hurting, and the last thing it wants you to do is stop breathing, but that's what you have to do to get away an accurate shot. And that's well done there. And Brittany Hudak leaves, but she's missed one there, and that will hurt her chances of securing that bronze medal, perhaps. Lyashenko now. And has missed one. Will that make any difference, or is her lead too big? Probably the latter. Well, to miss a couple and probably win, as she seems likely to do now, that tells you how quick she's been today. Konashuk a better shoot with her last stop, but 5 misses overall for the Ukrainian. We'll see her out of the medals.
Yeah, a bit too late for Konashuk.
extraordinarily fast from Kononova there. Well, it's that easy sometimes. Not always. Emily Young.
She's hit 19 from 20, all in. A sharp shooting from Emily Young. She might be on the edge here if she can produce a strong finish. That's Young, bib 59, up and away, back in the race.
These are the final games for Dekajima at 47. You retired a long time, and maybe she wants to keep going. Good final shoot from Wang Ro.
Yeah, she's missed just one all in, but hasn't quite got the speed. So that's Dekajima up and away. Here's Irina Bui. One miss so far.
Sneaking up on Hudak's exit time. Needs these to be good, the last two. All right, got some serious racing to do on the last lap. And she's trying. Well, look at the scoreboard, will tell her what she needs to do. Abe. Oh, goodness. Just getting 2 of the last 5. That's a demoralising triple circuit of the penalty loop.
To any one of our athletes to have not missed a shot yet. Batinkova Baumann. Going out with a bang here. Absolutely impeccable shooting from Batinkova Baumann. She hasn't got the speed, but still a fabulous display of marksmanship.
Here's Brittany Hudak. Chance of a medal if she can keep it together over this final lap. Coming through 11 Ks of 12.5 total race distance. Hudak has got Guo covered, but it's the likes of Lyushenko she needs to worry about.
Look at the lead. Best part of 2 minutes at present as the chasers come through the equivalent checkpoint. Kilometre and a half to go of this 12.5 race. Looking very, very good for Lyushenko. Zhao in pursuit. Hudak 2.
Zhao's in a strong position to claim second. Good separation between Zhao and Hudak on the clock. Lyushenko looking very safe.
Yeah.
Looks like we've got our medalists settled, really.
The advantage shaved down to over the 30 seconds, 36 seconds, but still plenty of cushion there for Lyudmila Lyushenko of Ukraine. And she's all set to complete the medal set here at Beijing as Lee pushes on. And then that's Hudak in behind. Could be another medal for Brittany Hudak. So that 11.5 checkpoint, that denotes 1 kilometre of this race to go.
Gold and a bronze so far for Canada in biathlon events. Hudak looking to add something. Lyushenko, handsome margin over the Canadian, not quite so much over Guo. Zhao at least. Zhao is coming through ahead of Hudak and behind Lyushenko. Yes, 43 seconds down. So that's too much to make up in what's left of this race.
Yep, Zhao just tiring a bit now towards the end of this 12.5K. The last para-biathlon races for these standing skiers at Beijing 2022. And 2 more races to come a little bit later, by the way, the men's and women's. The vision impaired category, but could well be another medal for Hudak. She was 3rd in the long distance cross country event. That was superb for Canada, by the way. They had gold and bronze in that race. It's superb at the moment for Ukraine, pushing on and looking likely to bag gold medal number 6 in the para-biathlon events here at these Paralympic Winter Games. Lyushenko in control at the head of the field.
It's a plastic guarded fence is a long flat stretch before there's a tight downhill left-hand turn to take. Zhao should have enough left in the tank to secure 2nd position behind Lyushenko, and then it's Hudak and Young of Canada. And the fans in the stands starting to get excited about the finish. They'd like it to be a Chinese victory. Well, Guo will come down to the line and post a time to beat, but it will be beaten. 50:04.4.
Well, that's our reference mark set by the sprint gold medalist. Absolutely spent, as you would imagine. I mean, whatever happens from here on in, it's already been a career-defining moment, really announcing herself on the scene, the 17-year-old. And now Lee comes in. She's going to be 4 minutes down.
And we've got Brittany Hudak coming in for all she's worth, trying to make sure that nothing happens to the bronze medal position she's had her eye on for some time now. So she will, for the moment, take top spot. Hudak of Canada. They'll be cheering for her back in Saskatchewan, in the town of Prince Albert, where she's originally from. But Lyushenko has got that time well covered. And is she the gold medalist? Almost certainly. Lyushenko.
To complete the set, silver and bronze at these games now. The gold just about to be draped around her neck. That 2nd Winter Paralympic Games gold medal. Clubhouse leader, but she'll be comfortable here as we see the finish from Zhao. So the Chinese athlete can't get near Lyushenko. 47.22 the winning time, and Zhao is going to come in 44 seconds down. Lyushenko, Zhao and Hudak here, the 1, 2 and 3.
Well, that should settle it for the medals. Ukraine, China and Canada. Athletes further down the field or who started later don't look like they'll have an impact on this, and Lyushenko looks well pleased with the outcome. That's another gold for Ukraine. It'll be their 6th in biathlon. Konashuk across in 6th place, 7:31 down on a teammate. Of course, this means a tremendous amount to the Ukrainian athletes who've come here under great duress and emotional stress. Koronova in 6th.
And a surge, Young, 4th, 49.55. Well, in the end, she was 50 seconds away from her compatriot Hudak. But it really is all about Lyashenko.
Lyashenko had it all covered. Yes, there were a couple of misses, but was too quick for the field. Bui comes in, just missing the medals, 150.9 behind Lyashenko.
Just 9 seconds away from Hudak as well in the final shake-up there, Bui. But she did it. She had the race in control. The world champs bronze medalist comes to the Winter Paralympic Games and takes off the crown in the women's individual standing event.
Let's focus now on the men's event. Also over 12.5 kilometres. And Benjamin Davier of France, Marc Arens of Canada, and Grigory Vovchinsky. Getting towards the back end of this race. And Davier.
Yeah, he's the only athlete to shoot clear thus far, Davier. Excellent shooting in the range. He's just got better and better the deeper we've got into these Paralympic Winter Games. It's Benjamin Davier. Didn't happen at all for him in the earlier biathlon events, but
I saw a little fist pump there from him. That was the last stop, and he shot clear,
yeah.
And he's had a look and realised how much in front he is, and he go, okay, and let's just bring it home. And it's early to be celebrating, but maybe he's entitled to. Gerlitz of Kazakhstan has had a couple of misses.
Gerlitz there, he won the bronze in the middle distance event. So Marc Arens is challenging for the medals. He's had an excellent game so far. 79 there is Vovchinsky. Just at one miss on his third visit to the shooting range. The Ukrainian comes in to shoot at the last 5 targets here in this 12.5K race.
That's efficient shooting, isn't it, from Vovchinsky? Can go out once more and complete the race. Another 2.5 Ks to go. And perhaps he can ski into the medals for Ukraine once more. Behind him there in 74 is Sato Keiichi of Japan. Vovchinsky, one of those Ukrainian athletes, happy to open up about what competing here means to him and his teammates and how important it is to be representing Ukraine. Mixed feelings about being here, but having decided to come, they're doing a good job of competing well. Yuan, China, well outside Davier's time. Davier is just romping through this astonishingly one-sided event. This men's individual standing biathlon. Is Arentz for Canada. Well, 2:39 looks good, but the Davier has got him well covered. When the Frenchman comes through, it'll be a different story. At the 11K mark, just 1,500 metres to go for Davier, and he's 2 minutes 15 ahead of Arentz.
Yeah, he's finally got it right, hasn't he, in the Parabiathlon?
Well, he's taking the congratulations around the course from the team. He's, whoa, it doesn't get any better than this.
Coasting.
Yes.
The sprint champion in cross country, but outside the medals thus far in the biathlon. He was 4th in the sprint, 6th in the middle distance. He had a nightmare at the shooting range, missed 4 targets in the middle distance race, but he's got his eye in today. Benjamin Davier is absolutely smashing it. Here's Gerlitz for Kazakhstan, the 32-year-old who's running at a 95% effective time and outside the medals. Look at that, almost 5.5 minutes down on the Frenchman Davier's time. But Marc Arentz is chasing another medal here, the 32-year-old.
Well, they're about to flip positions, aren't they, from 4 years ago? Marc Arentz, the gold medalist, Davier, the silver. Ulset of Norway was the bronze medalist that time, and Vovshinsky was 4th.
Well, Davier comes through that equivalent checkpoint, 2:17. Talk about a cushion. Well, he can think about the celebration now and ease up. Knows that he's got this one in the bag. Davier of France.
Here is Ulset, Pyeongchang bronze medalist. Doesn't look to have a top 3 finish in him today, the veteran Norwegian.
Well, he's had some fun, hasn't he, at the Winter Games. And Nils-Erik Ulset been winning medals for 2 decades now, but this is the man of the moment. It's Davier of France, unerring in the shooting range, hasn't missed a shot today, and all out on his own, the champion for France here. Going to do it again.
Doesn't happen often, but it can happen in biathlon, that you find yourself with a lap to ski and no one can get near you, and it becomes a joyful last few minutes, just soaking it up, what it all means. And that's what it's to be for Davier. Wu will come down to the line with the time to beat, but 42.52.9, it's not going to hold up.
That's our reference time. Watch our later finishers come in and post numbers in green, and it'll be a significant margin for Benjamin Davier. 3 golds in Pyeongchang 4 years ago, and he's going to have a second here in Beijing. So Marc Arentz comes up to the line. 42.52.9 the reference time so far. Arentz is going to absolutely destroy that.
Yeah, by 2:13.9, his factored time 40.13. 4 years ago, his calculated time was 42.52. So it's a good showing from Marc Arentz yet again. But here's the man, Benjamin Davier of France. Victory coming his way. And it's just a casual stroll to the line, if you will. He's taken care of business today. And Arentz will come over and congratulate him. Too good, my friend. Really, is it that easy? But if you're good enough, it can be on your day, and it's certainly Davier's day.
Second gold of these games. The sprint champion in cross country, the gold medalist here in the individual biathlon. Gerlitz 5:18 away, so off the podium at present. We wait and see what Wowczynski can do over the last few corners of this circuit, but it's Davier who's done it. Fabulous, formidable, France.
Lee comes in, 7 minutes down, provisionally fifth. Wowczynski not far away, he's just had the one miss, likewise for Sato.
So 42, 52.9, and he's going to do it. It's going to be another medal for Wowczynski, the sprint champion, the middle distance silver medalist, and it's going to be bronze for Wowczynski. Chalk another medal up for Ukraine, France, Canada, and Ukraine here in the men's individual race for standing athletes. We've got finishers still to come in. Sato, Yuan, Wu, Nils-Erik Ulset. Sato in the 45s. That puts him provisionally 7th. But this was a stroll in the snow, really, for Benjamin Davier, our champion in the men's individual.
Well, you can only hope to make it as comfortable and as easy and straightforward as Davier made it today, but with 20 out of 20 in the range, that's the platform on which this victory was built. Well, yeah, of course, that is the smile of a winner.
Oh, bah comme ça, tu me traînes pour le premier tour. On n'a pas de chance avec vous autres. Peut-être pour le bronze, on verra. Ouais, c'est ça en fait. Il faudra voir ce que les autres nations font un peu. C'est pas le même. Toi, tu ferais quoi, les deux en poussée? Ouais, il va faire les deux en ski. Ah ouais.
Wowczynski into third, Arentz of Canada second. We'll have recognition ceremonies coming up shortly at Zhangjiakou for women's and men's races in the individual standing.
Great moments there as Davier enjoys his victory. Yuan then, best part of 9 minutes behind Davier's time of 37:58.9. That puts the Chinese athlete in 8th place here. Nils-Erik Ulset and Wu also yet to finish.
So Wu comes in 11:32 down on Davier's time. As 5 misses, a real handbrake on his chances today.
And Ulset, the last man standing. Well, he's had a terrific Winter Paralympics career. A 38 now, Niels-Erik Ulset. Been competing since Torino 2006. Has been a world champion in both cross country and biathlon, has Ulset. Individual, a champion back in Vancouver, but he's had to make way for younger, fresher talents in the intervening years.
He can really, at least in terms of cross-country, trace it all the way back to Salt Lake. 2 wins there in the 10K and the long distance. 2002, 20 years. The lights are on. It's only early afternoon, just after 1:30 local time, as Ulset makes his way down towards the finish.
And great to hear the cheers of the crowds, perhaps one last time at the Paralympic Winter Games for Niels-Erik Ulset, our last finisher in the individual event.
Well, perhaps it is too, because of the applause seeing there coming from Arends and Davier. Well, that's a Paralympic moment right there. Enormous respect thrown the way of Ulset from the gold and silver medalists. And also from Sato of Japan. Maybe that is it. Maybe they know something that hasn't been disclosed to the rest of us about Ulset. But whatever way you slice it, a big win for Benjamin Davier of France, Mark Arends of Canada, Grigory Vovchinsky of Ukraine. They're 1, 2, 3 in the men's individual standing over 12.5 Ks.
So go back then to see our confirmed finishers in the women's individual. Lyashenko, Zhao and Hudak, gold, silver and bronze respectively. Big win for Lyashenko, just racking up another gold medal for Ukraine. And we'll shortly see the recognition ceremony. Well, Zhao just enjoying her moments. Another is getting used to it. Another medal for Zhao Zhixing. Won the bronze in the sprint too.
Lyashenko in this event showed her intentions early. She went out very hard, very fast. No misses in the first stop, and then it was hers to lose after that, and even a miss in the final shoot had little impact on the outcome, winning it by 44 seconds from Zhao, and Hudak a clear third. She had some 9 seconds up her sleeve. Back to Bui in fourth.
Great smile there, being worn by Brittany Hudak. Bronze also in the cross-country long-distance race. Another medal for Canada. And Zhao on the podium again.
Excellent shooting from Zhao, just the one miss at the second shooting stop.
One miss more, Lyashenko, but that didn't matter. She was lightning quick in this ski and has the gold medal in the women's individual here for standing athletes. Sixth gold medal for Ukraine in the biathlon events at Beijing 2022.
It's a quiet, restrained celebration from Lyashenko. Nothing can distract us from the quality of the performance. Lyashenko just too good in both aspects of the biathlon, particularly her speed around the course, very impressive. Shui Rongrong, the mascot. And the prize at this stage, medals to come soon.
Coming soon, very soon indeed, the recognition ceremony at the end of the men's individual. Well, both are champions in the individual event. The men and the women's standing categories absolutely blitzed the opposition, didn't they? Lyashenko was a dominant winner in the women's race. And what about Davier? 2:14, the margin of his victory over Mark Arends. Oh, full of beans, and you don't blame him. He's loving it.
4 years previously, Arends beat Davier by 58 seconds. That's a pretty good margin, but 2:14 is something else again. Sports people dream of the perfect performance. Davier might struggle to better what he's just shown us today. Half a dozen backing up from the field of Pyeongchang. Arends, Davier, Nils-Erik Ulset we saw finishing for Norway. Vovchinski, bronze medalist today. Also Alexander Gerlitz and Sato Keiichi. They too were racing 4 years ago.
Well, it's a 10th Paralympic Winter Games medal for Grigory Vovchinski. His 4th here in Beijing. His 2nd bronze. Second for Arends. Just drops down. He was top of the podium in Pyeongchang. They flipped it, Davier and Arends, and this time in Beijing it is the Frenchman Benjamin Davier who celebrates a dominant performance and a quite wonderful gold medal in the men's individual.
Yeah, a couple of gold medals in Pyeongchang for Davier in biathlon, sprint and middle distance, and in cross country, in the relay, and he's backing it up 4 years later with these great performances. He draws in his teammates. He's a boss of the washout there. Never mind the height difference. He's standing tall today. Has not stopped smiling since he crossed the line, I'm sure.
Great.
Vovchinski and Arends on the podium in each of the 3 para-biathlon events here for the standing athletes. Davier, the cross-country gold medalist in the sprint race, gets in on the act here in the biathlon.
A sense of relief too. This is the end of their competition program for biathletes. There's still cross-country events on the schedule, but he's seen somebody he wants to come and say hello to. Breaking a little bit with protocol. That's all right. It's all done. No one's going to get upset with him, I'm sure. Still have races to come. We've got the vision impaired individual events, women and men. And we hope you'll be around for those. They're not far away. It's 15 minutes or so.